I cannot imagine, as a senator, I cannot pay my power bill for 1 month. Then what am I working here for? What of the ordinary person? There were more than 5 rates within the space of 3 years by the distribution companies. What is happening? These are people that run to us when they have crisis, but when we deem it fit to tell them that for exigency reason, stay action on XYZ, they disregard our motions and do what they want. My biggest concern, sir, is in this house that we have passed a motion asking the distribution companies not to increase rate, and that motion was disregarded, and they went ahead to increase the rates. So these are people that run to us when they have crisis, but when we deem it fit to tell them that for exigency reason, stay action on XYZ, they disregard our motions and do what they want. Secondly, sir, with regard to the debt we are talking about, sir, none of the generating companies has paid NMPC for the gas they have taken for the last 5 years. So if we deduct, this gas belongs to government. If we deduct the cost of gas from the GENCOs, from what they are owing federal government, there is no owing at all. I want us to be clear that if they do not pay for the gas that they are generating this electricity, then where would the government get the money to pay them for the service they have rendered? We need to take this thing holistically, and Nigerians should not be made to pay for incremental charges frequently. There were more than 5 rates within the space of 3 years by the distribution companies. What is happening? How is the income of Nigerians? I cannot imagine, as a senator, I cannot pay my power bill for 1 month. Then what am I working here for? What of the ordinary person? I think we need to take this thing totally, so that this rate of electricity should be generated in such a way that Nigerians will be able to enjoy these natural resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Senator, oh, sorry.
Olamilekon, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, let me start by commending the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who about 2 weeks ago extended his economic reform to the power sector by signing into law the power for the states to generate their own electricity. It is on that premise that I will go by extending my own support for the mover of this bill, Senator Eyinaya Abaribe. Mr. President, looking at his submission, the first objective of this bill, enhance policy and regulatory coordination between the national and the subnational government to avoid legal disputes and inconsistency. Mr. President, I quite agree with him, because now that we now have in place that bill, that act empowering the states to generate their own electricity, definitely there can be some issues which we believe maybe as a result of this amendment that can be corrected. But Mr. President, looking at what we currently have as structure in the electricity sector, you will quite agree with me that over the years, so many people have taken advantage of this particular sector and the federal government being the sole generation and distribution of power in Nigeria. As we speak, Mr. President, the indebtedness of the federal government to these contractors, so-called the GENCOs and the DISCOs, is running into billions and millions of dollars. And that is why any attempt by the government to remove subsidy from this sector is always met with a huge cry by the general populace. And this has been as a result of the inconsistency we have experienced in this particular sector. Mr. President, there is a particular agency of the government, they call it MBET, Embed is the face of the government between the discos and the gencos. Every budgetary years is billions of naira that are being voted by Embed, and that money is usually not enough to pay the discos and the gencos. I've listened to my colleague talking about vandalization. Mr. President, you'll be shocked that this same contractor that installed will go back there, vandalize and take it away. Year in, year out, the same job. The same job. And I strongly believe if this amendment tends to take care of all these issues that we have, it will go a long way in resolving this particular critical sector once and for all. You and I agree with me that if we can solve the crisis we have in the power sector, we will have succeeded in solving more than 50% of the challenges of this country. And I want to commend the current administration, who is doing so much. At least fairly, all of us can at least testify to the fact that we have power. Sometimes I stayed in my house for 3 days, I won't on my generator. Yes, they say there is band A, band B, band C. Whichever band it is, at least fairly, we're enjoying power. If this will further crystallize and solidify the sector, I think I'm in total support of the bill. What is my observation? I noticed that in the body of the bill, in the body of his submission, under the structure of the bill, he mentioned that the clause section 2 will amend the constitutional dispute and also refer to so many clauses. My fear is that this is a private sponsor bill and not from the executive. I hope that all these clauses that we have mentioned as part of his submission will work in tandem with the expectation of the executive, so that we can have a holistic amendment that will solve and resolve the issue in the power sector once and for all. Mr. President, I so submit.
Senator Maidoki, you have 1 minute because